Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Star Wars Wednesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with Star Wars The Black Series, Shadows of the Empire, Prince Xizor. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here on the top, we have the pig hook holder and some tape, and that's it. On the front, Star Wars The Black Series. Nice big window that goes around to this side, showcasing most of the figure and accessories. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire 01 Prince Xizor, which he should be, because he's a prince. And then we have Don't Stick Things in Your Pie Hole That Do Not Belong There 4 and Up. Assortment numbers and Hasbro print on the bottom. Small print, fine print, legalese print. Main China print, symbols I'm not going to learn, and a barcode. On this side, we've got this stripe from the front, continues around to this side, and then upwards at an angle, and around to the back. Star Wars The Black Series. On the other side, we've got some nice artwork of Prince Xizor. And then we have that artwork again here, only it's zoomed in a little bit. Star Wars The Black Series, Prince Xizor. Prince Xizor is the head of the galaxy-wide criminal organization known as Black Sun. Xizor uses his intergalactic shipping operations to execute favors for the Empire and carry out his own agenda. And there it is again, in some other languages. Again, he's 01 in the Shadows of the Empire subline. Attention, especially don't stick things in your pie hole, your French pie hole. Includes figure and accessory. Wow, he has accessory. Warning, attention, Octoon, don't stick things in any other language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Small, fine, legalese, made in China print, Disney print, and Hasbro print. That, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessory. No handy-dandy tweezers needed for this. His only separate accessory is this staff, and it does have nice molded details, and it looks like it's molded in this gold plastic, and then this might be a paint app, it looks like. Yeah, it's not separate. This piece up here twists around, so it's separate, and then we've got this piece, which also appears to be a separate piece. Just, you know, waving in the wind or whatever. But, you know, it's got some nice details down here, down at the very bottom. I mean, look at the inlay sculpt in there and down here as well. And then all these little rings. And then nice sculpted detail here for the hand grip part. And then some more of that, like filigree or inlay or whatever you want to call it here. And then some more nice sculpted details in the staff of Rawhead. I mean, the Black Sun logo there. So, overall, it's a pretty nice little piece. Very reminiscent of the original Shadows of the Empire 3 3/4 staff that came with Prince Xizor. And look at that face. That's all new and all amazing. His neck and these ridges and going down his spine. I mean, just a lot of this is new sculpt. Now the legs might be reused from somewhere. I'm not entirely sure. Perhaps Mando and Grogu Luke. Not the movie, the Mandalorian series, but the Luke that comes with Grogu from Yeah. Or was that in the Book of Boba Fett? That was Book of Boba Fett, wasn't it? I don't remember. It all kinds of runs together, which may be a good thing. I don't know. But there is a lot of new sculpt here. These legs might be reused. These boots definitely appear to be reused. The crotch piece, I'm not entirely sure. This overlay is all new. This torso appears to be all new. And these overlay. And the arms as well. So, but that head sculpt is just amazing. And you can see it's got a little bit of shading going on here, paint wash, or perhaps some of that inkjet printer stuff going on, which is probably what they did it with, because the eyes are definitely that. And there seems to be maybe a little bit more color in the face as well, but good gosh. Very, very good. These ponytail pieces are separate, and they're probably molded in this color, and then the gold is paint apps, and then we've got some gold paint apps on this overlay, and down this overlay, and this overlay here, and down in here, and here, and here, and here, and around the back as well, and around the back here as well too. So very, very nice. Looks like these might be separate pieces molded in gold plastic. And then we've got some gold paint apps here and around here on both hands. And also his nails or talons or claws, whatever you want to call them, have some nice paint apps on them as well. So just overall, the sculpt on this is pretty dang amazing. So let's talk about his articulation real quick. These two ponytails, you could say, are articulated. They do rotate 360 degrees. I'd be careful with them though. They do feel a little flimsy there at the base, so not something I would do too often. So he can look up that high, he can look down that far. He's got some chicken neck, he's got some waggle, and he can do the full exorcist. The head, it seems to be on a dumbbell up here and a ball joint down at the bottom of the neck. At the shoulder, he can raise his arm up. Oh, well, let's go ahead and call that 90 degrees. This overlay does get in the way. It may also get in the way of the full rotation. And you can do it. It's not the easiest, but there it is. It's doable. 360 degree rotation at the elbow because it's a hinge and swivel. Single hinge and swivel, that is. Gives you a little bit better than a 90 degree bend there at the elbow. 360 degrees of rotation at the wrist on in and out hinge, and the other side is up and down. So very good for blasters and walking sticks, I suppose. So ball joint or half ball or half dumbbell at the waist gives him all kinds of waggle. He can lean left, he can lean right, he can rotate 360 degrees, he can lean back that far, he can crunch forward that far. At the hips, no pull down, so he can give you that much of the splits, and that is the actual range of motion of the hips. The overlay is not hindering that at all, and he can kick forward that far, and I think maybe the overlay is hindering the forward movement a bit, and it's definitely hindering the movement backwards. Let's see. No cut, but he does have a little bit of swivel from the hip joint. Single hinge and swivel at the knee, and it swivels around 360 degrees with some detents in there. And he can give you that much bend, maybe a little bit better than 90 degrees. Then the boot is a separate piece, so it also spins 360 degrees at the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far. So that's not bad. And then forward facing pin for rocker, and there's detents in that too. Wow. And as far as accessory storage goes, of course, if you want to keep it with the figure, he does have to hold it in his hand. Or you can hold it in both hands. Or you can decide not to give it to him. But there you have it, my friends. A look at the figure and his accessory. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have Star Wars The Black Series, Shadows of the Empire, Prince Xizor, with the Amazon exclusive Star Wars The Black Series reissue of Emperor Palpatine and his throne, and Star Wars The Black Series, The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader. For our last set of comparisons, here we have Star Wars The Black Series, Shadows of the Empire, Prince Xizor, with from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee, from G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander, from Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on Star Wars The Black Series, Shadows of the Empire, Prince Xizor, I have to say, I still don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right or not. That's how it looks to me. That's how I've always thought it in my head ever since I read the novel. I never have played the game. I may change that recently. I did pick up a copy of it. So I don't even know if this guy appears in the game or not. I just remember that book, Shadows of the Empire, the novelization, or the novel, I guess, was one of the few books out of what's considered Legends now that I read multiple times. And I enjoyed it that much, and I thought it was a good chapter in between Empire and Return of the Jedi. And while this guy may not have been the most potent of adversaries, he was pretty challenging for our rebels, and he was also quite a thorn in the side of Darth Vader. And it's you know, it's a neat character. It's the first time we've gotten a Falleen falling out of the line. And what a way to start with that race. I think this is a really good mold, and a lot of the pieces on this are new. I think there may be some reuse on the boots, maybe the legs, but I'm pretty sure the rest of it is all new. And the deco on it is really good. And, you know, I mean, just look at all that sculpted detail there on the back. And, you know, while this guy might not be a physical equal to Darth Vader, he was especially cunning, because you don't get to be the head of a crime organization in the Star Wars universe without, you know, being extra cunning. And this guy's definitely that throughout the book, although in the end, it didn't help him. Spoiler alert, if you've never read the book. I do highly recommend that book, by the way, if you have never read it. And even though it's not considered part of canon anymore, at one point it was. And I feel like, you know, it really should have that status again. It's a really good chapter, like I said before, between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, as far as what was going on and the process of rescuing Han Solo, things like that. I look forward to their release of, or the Black Series release of Dash Rendar to go along with this figure. And of course that they have that 2-pack of Luke in the Imperial, I don't remember, the Red Trooper armor. I can't remember what it was called. And a reissue of Princess Leia in the Bush disguise. So I passed on that one because I really don't need another Leia's Bush in my collection. One is enough, and it's the archive edition, so you know it's probably the newer, the 2-pack release is probably a little better decoed than the archive release, but the helmet's staying on, so there it is. But again, as far as this guy goes, I think this is an excellent addition to your collection, especially if you're a fan of that Shadows of the Empire novel. Again, like I said, I don't know, I can't remember if this guy appears in the game or not, or other media, but I do remember, you know, reading the novel several times. I did have a couple of his Shadows of the Empire, the 3 3/4 figures, one of which was the Darth Vader and Prince Xizor 2-pack, and then he had a single release as well. And then I want to say there was another release of this character in the 3 3/4 comic book packs, and he famously came with what the fan community referred to as Cankle Leia. And having that figure, I can understand why they would refer to it in that manner, because her ankles are quite big. But at the time, I think that was the only way that they could get the articulation they were trying to get into the figure. So, you know, I'm not an apologist for Hasbro, but I just feel like, you know, that figure gets crapped on a bit, the Princess Leia in that 2-pack. But anyway, but this figure is, I like, it's fantastic. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content, or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.